Once again, I would like to draw your attention to our oculomotor muscles and our eye motor coordination skills. What exactly are they, and why do we even need to train them? We have already discussed the importance of vision and the significant role that the visual system plays in the functioning of our nervous system. How truly important all of this is, how remarkably well our vision works to provide us with clear, reliable, and high-quality information, and how it allows us to fully enjoy the incredible beauty and countless wonders of our lives. And so, in this lesson, we'll try to pay a bit more careful attention to our eyes. Oculomotor skills are what allow us to truly live comfortably and experience the world around us with ease. We can fixate on a target. This, by the way, relates to our attention and concentration. When we read, when we study, when children are learning, we fixate our eyes on a target. We copy from the blackboard, and that's not just fixation, it's also saccadic movements. We switch our focus. Saccadic eye movements, or saccades, are a complex neurological mechanism, and we use them constantly. When a new person walks through the door, we start to look them over partly by using saccades. We don't just look at one single spot on their face. We assess their face from different angles. We look at their eyes, their lips, their nose. We look at their body, how they are dressed, what they look like. In other words, our eyes are constantly switching between different points. We also use saccadic movements and oculomotor skills in general when there's danger. If something happens, in our periphery, we also have important peripheral vision. We absolutely don't use it in our daily lives. Because what do? We stare at the screen within a very small and restricted perimeter, but when some movement actually happens in our periphery, we turn immediately right, because it could be dangerous. If something is approaching quickly or someone zips by, we immediately see it in our periphery and turn our gaze toward it. We direct our gaze. When we read, that's convergence and divergence. When we play sports, we follow the ball as it flies toward us. We play volleyball, we play tennis, we play golf. In all these cases, we use absolutely all of our oculomotor skills. And indeed, just as we train our bodies and, by the way, feel fantastic afterward, let me point out that after a workout, we immediately experience pleasant sensations. Why does this happen? We're training our muscles. It's the same with our eyes. Our eyes will also feel really great if we regularly and consistently train their different types of skills. And in this lesson, we'll make the tasks a bit more complex and add just a little bit of extra fun. In this session, we'll get acquainted with more active techniques that train our eyes and oculomotor skills, that train our coordination, and that, according to current scientific understanding, help maintain the health of our brain. And to do that, we'll be using, first of all, some balls, and I'll show you some simple techniques. And we'll start with a very simple and straightforward technique that improves our coordination by enhancing the quality of the signals that enter our brain. The part of our brain that is primarily responsible for coordination is often called the little brain, which is the cerebellum. It's a very dense and compact structure containing a huge number of neurons packed closely together, and it's responsible for both coordination and for managing complex movements that require precise timing and control. By the way, we can also assess and test it. There are simple tests for the cerebellum. As we already know, there's the Rumberg test, where we stand with our feet together, with our eyes gently closed. We assess how stable we are in this position. You can also do a tandem Rumberg, which is a position where your feet are in the line, also with your eyes closed, and assess yourself there. And there's a test with a very complex name, dysteatokinesia. It's performed as follows. One hand is palm up, and with the other hand, very gently and slowly, we're going to perform these kinds of movements. Our task is to perform the movement with the top hand for 5 seconds, without stopping, so we don't hit with the bottom hand. Then we're assessing accuracy and coordination. Let me show you again how it should look. I shouldn't keep my hand on the palm, that is, I hit lift and flip it over. This is a simple test for the cerebellum. The same thing with the left hand. If our cerebellum is working perfectly, then we won't have any repetitive movements, meaning it shouldn't look like this. We won't have any lack of coordination. And for 5 seconds, we can calmly and easily do this with both our left and right hands. Regardless of whether you're right-handed or left-handed, let's start with some simple exercises for our cerebellum. In other words, first of all, we'll activate the system that controls complex coordination. Let's say we'll do a warm-up. I've prepared some stickers with dots on them. And for the first exercise, I'm going to use the wall. I'll place the stickers at different levels. This can be at the level slightly above your eyes. This is right at eye level, as you can see. And let's say, for example, perhaps somewhere a bit lower in the hierarchy, somewhere around there. You may have come across a test like the finger-to-nose test. That is when a doctor or a physical therapist asks you to perform a movement with your eyes closed. Extend your arms in front of you and touch the tip of your nose with your index finger. By the way, this is how we assess our coordination. And the doctor or specialist is looking not only at how you perform the task, but also at how stable you are, how accurately you hit the tip of your nose, and what trajectory you use, right? It's a test for the cerebellum. We're going to turn this into an exercise and perform a simple activation. You can start by using just one eye, which is actually much more interesting because, as you may remember, each eye has its own picture. And with 2 eyes, we have absolutely no problem seeing things. You can play an interesting game and ask a friend or family member to participate. How does it work? Well, they hold up their fingertip, you close one eye, and then with your finger, you gently touch the tip of your nose and then their finger as they change its position in space. Try doing this 2 or 3 times with each eye, and you'll find that it's actually very difficult to see the distance, to judge the distance with just one eye. One eye does it better, the other does it worse. That's exactly why we train each eye separately. We can cover an eye with our palm. Well, I'm going to use this wonderful pirate patch here, which will definitely make the task much easier for me, and you can actually use absolutely any piece of cloth or even an elastic band, whatever you have available. I'm covering one eye, and in this exercise I touch the tip of my nose and the dot. Let me show you what it will look like. Tip of the nose and the dots. Nose, oops, dot. Nose, dot, nose, dot. I'll also do this with my other hand. And it seems to me that it's actually all quite easy and simple, but as I get closer to the target, it really requires some effort, to be honest. I can also do this with my other eye and assess it. And my accuracy here suffers slightly. The other hand. You can place the targets, for example, on the wall, and start with this fairly simple exercise. There's no point in doing this with 2 eyes because there's no difficulty here. I can clearly judge the distance. When I do it with just one eye, some slight difficulty can occasionally arise, right? That is, it turns out that I don't always see the target accurately. And this is actually a really good foundation, a really good start for improving coordination. So we touch the nose, and then we touch the target. By the way, after this exercise, assess again, for example, if you had any discomfort in your back, how you feel now. Next, we'll move on to exercises with balls. I'll start with one ball, and then I'll show you exercises with several balls. First of all, the simplest thing we can do is throw and catch a ball. You'd be surprised, but many adults can't even catch a ball. And that's a basic skill. Well, modern kids, of course, move less and use gadgets more, but this isn't just a problem for kids, it's a problem for adults too. And the ability to catch a ball is controlled by our coordination, specifically our hand-eye coordination. Our eyes are actually very closely connected to our hands. And first, if you have a place, for example, where you can throw a ball, we can, in fact, use that opportunity for training. We just throw it against the wall and catch it with one hand. We do the same thing, throwing with the left and catching with the left hand. I'm standing pretty close and it's harder to do with my left hand. But we can use some distance. So, right hand, left hand. You can throw with your right and catch with your left. What's important? When we throw the ball, we must always keep our eyes clearly focused on the ball. The better we track the ball's movement, and this is the smooth pursuit skill we've already practiced, the easier it will be for us to catch the ball. If you can't catch the ball, for example, you can use two hands at first to help you start. Or stand close, as close as possible, and do the same with your left hand. Then we move back and keep making the exercise more difficult. Also, a very simple and effective and great exercise which you can easily do at home or anywhere, that helps the vestibular system and our oculomotor system in particular, is tracking the ball. I can get into a challenging position, a difficult Rumbug stance with my feet in a line. I'll take the ball in front of me. I can use a tennis ball for this. It has some letters on it. I look carefully at these letters. And now, I'm going to make a slow circular motion. At first, I'm just moving my arms, then very carefully tracking the target with my eyes. Next, I can slowly move my whole body. And it will look like this. I look carefully at the target in front of me, and then I slowly move down, gently bending over to the other side, and then I gradually come back up to my original position here. I'm not just shifting my gaze with my eyes alone, but I'm also vividly imagining that my nose is actually tied or connected directly to the target, so in this movement, both my head and my eyes are actively moving together in coordination. Here, we're really using and practicing the coordination of both the neck muscles and the eyes, and this is considered to be an excellent and effective vestibular exercise for improving balance and spatial awareness. If it's difficult for you to stand in this position, use a stance with your feet together. And you might also notice that in certain parts of the movement, or at times during the movement, the clarity of the image may slightly decrease. This is in fact interesting, because our eyes can't always in every situation track the target. Once again, we're moving our head, eyes, and the target simultaneously. It's a good exercise that allows us to stimulate the vestibular system, neck muscles, and coordination. It stimulates our cerebellum and provides a huge amount of incoming information. Another option is an exercise with two balls. But, well, let's even start with one. We just toss the ball up and catch it in the same hand. And I'm following it with my eyes. Here we're using eye movements. You can toss the ball from one hand to the other. Also, the first thing to learn is to toss the ball and catch it at the same point. In this case, you can now use your peripheral vision, which is also a great option. I'm not looking at the ball. I'm looking straight ahead and I throw the ball and I try to catch it with my hand, but I'm tracking it in my peripheral vision. Same thing with the left. We're not looking at the ball anymore. This is also an excellent skill. Be sure to practice this. Next, we'll use two balls. We look straight ahead. You can look at the balls or at the point where they will be at their highest position. Tossing two balls from hand to hand is actually a more advanced version. Here at this point, I'm no longer trying to follow each individual ball separately as they move through the air. Instead, I fix my steady gaze on the specific point that they all reach when I toss them. All exercises with balls are excellent for developing our coordination and are a great support for a healthy brain. And in the future, I generally recommend you learn simple juggling, because it's truly a skill, a simple skill that can distract us a bit from tension and stress. It's a fantastic way to stimulate our nervous system. It creates a complex task and provides the conditions for neuroplastic changes. Neuroplasticity is the health of our brain, it's the key to being healthy, and it creates new neural connections, which also improves our coordination. So again, we start by working with one ball, learn to toss it, following it with our eyes, then, without following it, we add a second ball, one for each hand, and practice with two, and finally we add a third ball. This is already a more advanced level where we just start juggling these balls, trying to stay relaxed and watch them. You can do it in different ways. You can incorporate movement, walking, and this is truly an excellent and effective way to ensure the overall health of your brain and nervous system, as well as to develop your coordination in particular, and to feel a pleasant sense of relaxation. Try it, practice it.